We can make ourselves, whether we do something or not is based not on our ability. It's really based on our level of reasons or drive. In other words, whether you can change, whether you can make things happen, there's no question. We got people in every walk of life who started with nothing, who didn't believe in themselves, who are now running successful businesses. I want you to know the way you attack things often determines, in your mind, determines whether you do it or not. And it has to do with how we group things in our mind, how we chunk them. If there was a whale that washed up and you were starving and you needed to eat the whale and you try to eat in one bite an entire whale, it's overwhelming. If you chop it into 8 billion pieces, it's overwhelming. There's like a certain size that your mind can get your head around to be able to consume that whale or take on that business or turn your life around or whatever the case may be. I was saying, the biggest mistake a lot of us ask ourselves, what do we got to do? And so you see, we got to do, well, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this thing and that thing, and I do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this. It's overwhelming. But if you looked at all these things you need to do, you start to relate to them. Like all these things relate. What if these 5 things all related to understanding who your ideal client was? And all these actions all relate towards designing your course. And all of these 3 are all related to how we're going to market it and put it online for you. And you go, oh, there's 3 things I need to do, not 37. You follow me on this? Most people are trying to think, how do I get a few clients? How am I going to grow my business? And if you had a business and you had 100 clients and you say, I want to grow that business 30%, that's another 30 clients that you got to get. That seems like a lot if you don't have a lot of clients. Or if you had 1,000 clients, you'd have to get 30% more, 1,333 more clients to grow the business 30%. But what you're going to learn is there are lots of ways to skin this cat. And it doesn't take Herculean efforts. It's just little improvements like those 1% that can do it. In fact, I interviewed a man named Jay Abraham years ago. Jay's a marketing genius. He and I have been friends. I think I interviewed him almost 35 years ago. We're still friends today. He is a marketing genius because for 50 years, he's worked in all these different industries and shown companies how to create breakthroughs. And he studies what different industries do, and he learns this industry does this. Well, realtors don't do that. What if we had realtors do this thing that these other people do, and then realtors get better? So one day I did this 2-hour interview with him, and he had so many tools to help you grow your business. And I knew the audience was loving it, but I also knew they were getting overwhelmed. Have you ever been there? There's so much here. I don't know where to start. So start with the first thing. Let's start by making it easier. Let's start by chunking it into just a couple things you're doing, not 37 things you're doing. And your brain will start to get around it easier and make it work. So I said to him at one point, most people get overwhelmed, and you're a genius in what you're doing. And I said, but I have this belief that almost everything can be grouped into 3 steps, because most people's brains go 1, 2, 3, many, right? So what if there are only 3 ways to grow a business? I'm going to challenge you right now to take all of your knowledge, all of your skill, all your background and say, if there are only 3 ways to grow any business, what would the 3 ways be? And Jay's a real thinker. And he goes, wow, that is a great challenge. That is a great question. And we finally had to turn the audio off because he was really thinking for a while. And he goes, I got it, turn it on. And I learned something that I've used for my life forever. Now, again, you don't have to understand these numbers exactly because some of you haven't even come up with what your business is yet. But I just want to give you a feel about how we, in our head, get in the way of progress by making things bigger than they really are when we can simplify it. He said, Tony, there's only 3 ways to grow a business. I'm going to throw them on the screen for you here. Number 1, if you're going to grow a business, you need to get more customers. That's obvious. So once you come up with your course and we know what it is you want to do, we want to get some customers. And if you want to grow the business, you got to get more customers. Now, if you want to grow your business 33%, that's a giant growth for most businesses. Well, if you had 100 customers, you have to get 33 more, like I said. If you had 1,000, you'd have to get 333 more to get 30% more customers to grow your business 30%. Does that make sense? You don't have to do the numbers perfectly to understand generally what I'm saying. If you wanted to grow your business 100% and you had 100 customers, you have to get 200 customers. Make sense? But he said, Tony, getting new customers is only one step. I'm going to show you how to grow your business 33% by never getting more than 10% more customers. So if you had 100 customers, you only have to get 10 more. If you had 10 customers, you only have to get 1 more customer to grow your business 33%. I said, how do you do that? He goes, you go to step 2. Step 2 is you get 10% more customers, but then you get them to spend 10% more money when they do buy from you. He said you can get 10% more money by including another choice, like they get 2 courses for the price of 1 plus $10, or you can have it be a shipping and handling fee for $10. And then the third step is get your client to buy 10% more often. So if you had 100 customers, get 10 of them to buy a second time, buy a second product. If you had 10 clients, you get 1 to buy 1 more time. That's 10% more. And when you do this, you'll grow your business 33%. So little 1% changes, little 10% changes can make giant changes in your business.